Here's a really good point on the coming of computers now. So this is in the 80s now. He's talking, listening to the end of the book. We're on page 244 and 45. And so I'll just read it and then I'll talk about it. So he says that the computer, which is now used everywhere and for every purpose in the modern college and university, brings with it a distinctively different concept of truth than the printed book carried. Information, we might say, has replaced knowledge. And the difference was at once apparent even to non-specialists like myself when we shifted from the typewriter to the desktop computer in the 80s. After a typed text had been corrected a few times, further changes, particularly moving big blocks of material, became impractical, and when it was printed it was locked into typographical fixity. But making changes large and small, moving big chunks around, and endless revision were the normal way of working on the word processor, and though the text might eventually be printed, even then it would remain available on disk for subsequent modification and reuse. If not printed, it could still be distributed online and endlessly adjusted to meet objections and take advantage of new developments. Right? Okay, so now on the next page he says, if this is the future, then the computer brings us not the solid certainty of facts that it promised, but a relativity of information that we are also seeing in our politics, theory, social causes, and educational system. No doubt that Postman would agree here. So I thought that was really interesting, saying that, and kind of it reminds me of the Code of Laws, right, by Hammurabi. Hammurabi's Code of Laws was the first, I think, attempt to have laws in a society, and they were hammered onto a stone that sat in this town, that was in this town. And the thing about, or like you can even consider like the Ten Commandments, right? That supposedly were on these giant stone tablets or something. You can consider that something that is pounded into stone is something that has a long age. Its longevity has a long expiry date, let's say, because it is pounded into stone. It can't be edited. It is really as it is for a long time. And even what's printed at the time, I guess if you wrote things down, then or typed them, there was some concept of them being stable and kind of almost like this is going to be the state of knowledge, at least for some time. We're going to put this down on paper, and it's even if it is imperfect, it's what we know for now. But if you have, and you could have some confidence in referring back to that text for what was thought then. But if you have the internet, like I think the Wikipedia page is a perfect example. The Wikipedia page is a living document, a series of documents. You could access something today, and then tomorrow someone has changed something in it. And what was true? Was yesterday true? But today, what is today then? Today is truer, right? Maybe not. Maybe it's regressed. Maybe it's worse. Maybe someone did some damage, right? So the point is that the ease and availability of editing our information may not give us knowledge. It may not give us stable conclusions or beliefs. It might instead actually create an erraticness to our thought because of the ease of alterations, especially, and you might also add in the ease of the source of alterations. So anyone can edit a Wikipedia page, right? It doesn't matter if you have any kind of background in the topic or not. Any idiot can go and edit the physics page and just say it's all nonsense. But then tomorrow it'll just get it all fixed. It'll all just go back to how it was. These are like communal documents, but you can produce your own documents that you edit or not. So it's a question for us in these modern times, how if this is something that we're going to have to put up with, if this is the new normal, that information and knowledge is constantly updating and changing. Maybe updating is somewhat of a presumption. It's constantly changing and not necessarily changing for the good. It could be changing for the bad. And in comparing that to the state of knowledge in the past being more fixed, at least more fixed for a time, and not up to constant revision. And maybe another part of this is documents are not available, they are today. They are available to be tweaked for any purpose. Like someone could copy I was thinking like political campaigns. You could open up a binder of political campaigns, how to run one, and just make tweaks to it to run your own.